Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a heartwarming yet subtly rebellious story from the world of fast food work. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. I stole from a previous job for a pregnant coworker. This incident happened many years ago. However, I recently remembered and thought this may be a good place for it. A long time ago, I, female 28, was hired at my first job. It was a popular fast food chain restaurant, and although the work wasn't glamorous, my coworkers and the relationships I made there made it worthwhile. We had a few managers. One we'll call Kathy. Kathy was your typical Karen type of manager, the kind who was never pleased and expressed her disappointment to everyone. Her attitude made it nearly impossible to enjoy work, and we all dreaded being scheduled on a shift with her. Kathy usually worked morning shifts, as did I, and I was one of the employees that opened the store and prepared it for service for the day. We were allowed a short break before opening the store as long as everything was finished and accounted for, understandably. Now, we were not permitted to make food from the store to eat on our morning break, only those who worked in the afternoon and evening. The reason for this being that the computer systems and cash registers weren't active until about 5 or 10 minutes from opening, and we were required to bring in our food and pay the discounted employee price. We were not allowed to make food and then pay for it later, as this could interfere with service or people would just forget and not pay. The company thought this would decrease theft, to clock out and have another employee take your order and assemble your food, which wasn't an option for the morning opening shift. At least this was Kathy's excuse. The other managers always let us eat something in the morning, oftentimes for free. I had a coworker, Carrie, who also worked morning shifts with me. I befriended Carrie quickly, a young single mother with an 8-year-old daughter, pregnant with a son. One morning when Carrie and I were working together, she expressed to me that she had a rough morning and was unable to bring food for her break. She had a very strict diet with her pregnancy and ate at certain times throughout the day, which all the managers were aware of and accommodated to an extent, as long as she got her discounted meal and paid full price for anything later. She was very upset and told me that when asked, Kathy denied her permission to make a sandwich, even if Kathy rang it up and took the money herself. But the thing about Kathy was, she wouldn't just say no to things, she would hover and keep an eye on people so as to catch them in the act if they would disobey her, which anyone rarely ever did, but this was Kathy. I witnessed her watching Carrie through the office window and even heard her tell Carrie that she better not steal and make herself any food. This really upset me as well, because I felt bad for Carrie and wished there was something I could do to make her feel better. I was also very exhausted of Kathy and the rules she made up that no other manager seemed to implement or follow. I didn't bring any food of my own, as I usually skipped breakfast back then, so I decided to take things into my own hands and get my own little silent petty revenge on Kathy. Carrie ended up going outside to her car during her break, and Kathy died down in the office. I waited for the perfect opportunity, and just as Kathy diverted her attention to other managerial duties, I quickly grilled up a small beef patty and assembled a sandwich for Carrie. It wasn't unusual for me to join her outside on our break, so I took her the sandwich and came back inside to use the restroom before my shift. While in the stall, I heard someone come in, rummage through the trash, and start washing their hands. When I exited the stall, it was Kathy who greeted me with, "Where did you put the wrapper?" I just gave her a confused look and told her I didn't eat on my break. A short time after opening the store, she approached Carrie and I both together and told us she knew we stole food and that we're lucky the cameras didn't catch us or we'd be fired. I walked away still having a job that day, and I felt pretty good about helping a pregnant person who needed to eat. Kathy ended up moving to another store, and things were overall pretty peaceful until I left. Also never stole again. Petty? Yeah, I guess. But the memory of Kathy running around frantically digging in every single trash can for proof and going mad over it? Worth it. Imagine being that pressed over food that you don't even own. She's literally just an employee like you guys, except at a higher role. The ingredients aren't funded out of her pocket. WTF. And our second story. No magazines for me, no magazines for you. I work in an adult male correctional facility. The inmates in this particular unit were locked down 23 hours a day and were restrained and escorted when they did come out, i.e. yard time, phone time. This area had a control room that served as the hub of the unit where I controlled all the doors and watched the monitors during yard time. The room had no computer and no direct view of the inmates unless they were out of their cell. When yard times were done, there was literally nothing that I could or needed to do except open an occasional door. Therefore, I'd bring a book or magazine to get me through the day. Of course, this did not take away from any duties, as I didn't read until all the work was done. It's important to note this spot was worked by numerous other officers who would also bring a magazine to read, then leave it in a drawer for other people working the spot. Nothing lewd, of course, just cars, video games, outdoor magazines, etc. None of these supervisors seemed to have an issue with the practice and would even come in once in a while and grab one for themselves. That was until Roberts came along. He was a newer supervisor and I guess wanted to show the great things he was going to do as a new supervisor to the higher-ups. He came onto the unit his first day and seemed to inspect the area, then came to the control room. He opened the drawers and found the small stack of magazines. Roberts: "Are these your magazines?" Me: "One or two might be mine, but they're communal. You can grab a couple if you want." Roberts: "This can be considered contraband and should not be here. Since this is your area, you need to keep it clean of stuff like this. Now gather them up and get rid of them. If I see this again, you'll receive a write-up." Me: "All right, no problem. You won't see it again." I put the books in the library area with Robert's smug face watching me the whole time. To be fair, he told other staff as well to keep it clear. The very next day, I come in and check the drawer. There's a stack of magazines with a post-it note on the top one that says Roberts. My first thought was he was trying to set me up and I wasn't having it, so I threw the magazines in the trash. Later that day, we had an inmate flood his cell and water was going everywhere, so to keep the downstairs area from getting wet, my partner placed the trash can that had the magazines under a steady stream of water pouring from the upstairs. I didn't even think about the magazines at this point. Later, Roberts comes in, makes a beeline for the control room, comes in, opens the drawer, and with a puzzled look on his face, asks, "Roberts, where are the magazines?" Me: "What magazines? All I found was contraband." Roberts: "I told someone to put magazines in here with my name on them so I could grab them later." Me: "That's not my problem. You told me to keep this area clean, so I got rid of them." Roberts: "So you put them in the library?" Me: "Nope, I tossed them in the garbage." Roberts: "Why the hell would you do that?" Me: "I figured after the warning I received yesterday, anybody stupid enough to leave magazines in here would know they could be potentially written up. So to keep people from getting in trouble and to make a point, I threw them away." Roberts: "But they had my name on them." Me: "I couldn't be certain if they were yours or if you were setting me up. I put the magazines in the library as a courtesy yesterday. Today was to ensure I complied with your directives." Roberts: "Well, what garbage can are they in?" I pointed to the trash can with water still dripping into it and his face dropped. He goes to the trash can and pulls out a stack of saturated magazines. He heaves them back in the trash, then proceeds to the recording room where we can view video of what has happened on the unit. He makes a big show of his investigation. Meanwhile, I tell him there's no need for an investigation. I threw them away. It was an unfortunate turn of events that they were destroyed. Of course, nothing came of it, and he gave me a wide berth for a while after that. Maybe he remembered the drawer was for magazines and forgot his inept directive. Or perhaps the rules were for everyone else but him. That's bizarre behavior. And our last story. 911! I do a lot of work with lumber and sell the finished products to a select few clients, mostly smaller stores. This puts me into shops and markets fairly often, around 3 or 4 times a month, usually delivering the goods or picking up the trade-in stock/parts, depending on the arrangements. That said, I just got home from a drop-off and pickup routine, having scored a solid win with what I'll admit was a subpar, retooled, handicap-friendly working desk and cabinet pairing. In exchange, I got my hot little hands on ridiculously underpriced black walnut I have plans for, meaning I'm having an awesome day. Cue the arrival of the Wonder Twins at my workshop door, pounding loud enough that I can hear it over my music. My shop, my rules, my pick of the tunes. I walk to the door dressed in my flannel finery and fresh sawdust, not happy with anyone but the select few people who know not to knock if they can hear me playing music. I don't do walk-in customers or allow visitors inside the shop. Karen, Did you or did you not build my husband a set of pantry shelves last week? Me. Probably. I know that I definitely delivered some to a seller. Yes, last month, 2 days before Thanksgiving. Karen. Whatever. We demand a refund. Take them out immediately. Me. No. I don't do installation or removal. That's a not me department issue. You can leave now. Karen tried to jostle past me to get into the working area of my shop. Me. Okay, this is a language barrier issue. See yourself out and don't come back, like ever. Nobody's going to be allowed inside of the shop. Karen. I demand a refund and I'll be getting my refund immediately. I'll call the police. Me. Have at it, cowgirl. I'll be pressing charges for what it's worth. I don't know you. Karen dials her phone, ranting and raving. I lock up the shop and monitor her for the duration. Karen, smugly. You're gonna get arrested, you sanctimonious P-word. Me. Sure. I'll be over here smoking a cigarette. Karen, I forbid you to smoke. Yeah, not gonna happen. My property, my smoking rules. Kick sand, lady. I'm thinking. I smoke, she fumes, the police arrive and park in my driveway. This doesn't bother me, as I could give our rats tuchus what my neighbors think. Karen, arrest this man for fraud and assault. He threatened me. Me, pointing to the cameras installed on my shop exterior, shrugging. Cue the cops nodding to what she's ranting about, me retrieving the laptop from the dining room table and bringing it out to them. Me. So, to help clear up some confusion, I can show you guys the video. Cops. Yes, please. Step over there, please. I oblige. They review the video. Karen suddenly changes the narrative. I'm her employee. Her husband is on his way to prove it. I stole stuff. What? I ask what it is that I purportedly stole for a description. None available. She's demanding access to the shop, saying she definitely saw it earlier in the day, definitely close to her lunch break. Double what? I tell the cops to scroll back to around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then she's changing the timeline to yesterday. Again, I ask for a specific time of day. Another change of narrative. Now I've stolen cash from her. Yeah, my patience died with that one. Me. If she can't get or keep her story straight, allow me to do so with mine. I don't know her, her husband, or their many problems. I do know that she's trying to get into my shop and I'll be pressing charges for the attempts, plus trespassing, and being a expletive deleted, not my finest moment. Cops scribble their notes, take our names and details, escort her from the property, and remind her to not make it difficult on herself by returning. They make a reasonable request that nobody presses charges, which is cool with me. Karen required further discussion on the topic and similarly obliges. I close up the shop for the night, sit on my front porch, and wait. Doesn't take long before her husband shows up. Not demanding a damn thing, just issuing well-worn apologies for his wife's behavior. We shake hands, share a few laughs, and I do indicate that I have no interest in being a part of any future direct transactions with him. I do point out where he can get more of my finished product if he's so inclined, and off he goes to a place that I do not envy. I fired the client who gave out my address to Karen, and I stated that I would not be able to fulfill any future business with them. I don't mind the loss, and I can probably get a better gig if I wait for it. Suffice to say, it's not been a good day so far, on the average. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.